Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Vector W8 Garage. For those of you who've been patient enough to hang out here, I appreciate it. We are going to have some Vector content today. Oh boy. It's maintenance time on the car, just to at least do an oil change on it. She's due for her annual oil swap, so we're going to do that today. Kind of a love-hate scenario here. The car, when you go to change oil on it, is absolutely magnificent. Everything's very accessible underneath. Easy to get to. That's not the issue. The issue is my choice, or should I say lack of choice, for being able to have a hoist in my garage. Back when I bought the hoist that I did, it's a Benpak. It's a spectacular little hoist. The issue is the car and the hoist, in the way that the car is designed. The dry sump tank sits right over top of one of the lift points. So it makes it kind of difficult to do an oil change in the car, but you know, that's not really the hoist's fault. The hoist has been magnificent. Benpak, if you're listening, it is a beautiful piece of hardware. So we're going to warm the car up, let it run for a little bit. First thing I've got to do is go out here in the garage, make sure we've got enough oil to do it. Being a dry sump car, it does take quite a bit of oil. Vector uses basically double of what you would do in any normal car. You're looking at 12 to 14 quarts because you got two filters on this thing that are 1 quart filters each. So there is a lot of oil that gets consumed on this. So we're going to go out here in the garage, check, make sure I've got enough material to do this. If not, I'm going to have to run to town, grab a couple of things, a couple of quarts of oil, etc. And we'll get it underway. So hang tight here. We'll give you a little bit of video of some lesser seen areas on a Vector. Typically underneath the car, not too many people film. So we'll show you that and give you an idea of how much engineering went into this car at the time it was produced. It's pretty spectacular, and I'll point out some reasons why. Alright, so there she is. Gonna need a little TLC today in the form of an oil change. And of course, you know, the Cobra sitting here, and the Z sitting over here. We've got more tires than we know what to do with in here right now. I've got turf tires for the tractor, and of course the winter tires for the Toyota Tundra sitting there next to the Vector. I'm going to pull that off the Tundra and get those swapped over here pretty soon, as we are now in September, and winter can creep up on us pretty fast here, and I may not get another opportunity. So this week is the week to do a lot of maintenance out here. So we'll see what we've got here for oil. I usually try and keep quite a bit here. It looks like I've got enough. Let's see here. We've got our 15W50 Mobil 1. That will be spectacular, and it looks like I've got quite a few quarts of it here, so that should be enough to do what we've got to do. So we'll pull those down, grab a couple of filters, and we'll get the car warmed up and ready to go. And I'll show you guys some things underneath. Alright, so as I had mentioned earlier, one of the things that is kind of a pain in the rear end is the actual lift, and that was by my own choice. Back when I purchased the car, the house that I lived in at the time had a conventional 1955 size 2.5 car garage. Ceiling heights were very low. Excuse me. And so it made for choosing a lift a little difficult. Sticking a 4-post lift in the garage was not an option. Scissor lift was not an option. Conventional 2-post was not an option, just because ceiling heights in that garage were all of 8 feet tall. You know, maybe a little bit more than that, maybe 8.5. It was pretty low ceiling garage. Nice little garage, but left me very limited as to what I could do with a lift for the car. So the choice was a low-rise lift. Benpak, of course, made the best low-rise lift on the market. This thing has served me very well. It's dear God, I think I bought it in maybe 2000, 2001. So we're talking, 22 years old at this point in time. Still operates and looks brand new. The car has sat on top of this lift its entire life for the most part when it's in the garage. It's a nice little lift. So a couple things I've got to do. I've got to stick pads underneath it here. We'll lift it up and get it onto its lift pads and throw it up in the air. Now, of course, one of the issues that we have underneath this, and you'll see it when we get it up in the air, and I'll show you underneath the car, the way that this lift is designed, it's got two very long pads that come up underneath the car, and so then there's rubber blocks that you put underneath there to hit the jack points that you need to on the vehicle. But the size of the general lift pad that's on here is very generous, and it's nice because it fits, a multitude of cars. I can stick any car that I own on top of it and have no problem hitting a jack point and lifting the thing up with the rubber blocks that are included with the lift. The issue is the dry sump tank for the Vector is located in the left front side of the engine compartment, and down below that, where the drain plug is at inside of that dry sump tank, it sits right above one of the pads, and so when you see it underneath there, if you were to try and pull the drain plug right out, you have maybe a couple of inches and you'd be splashing down on top of this lift pad on the BEMPAC. So in order to kind of circumvent that, I have to do something a little different. I end up pulling the lowest siphon tube off of the side of the, or suction tube off of the side of the dry sump tank and drain it down that way, and then I suck the remaining out with a small suction pump that I have to get all of the oil out of the bottom of the dry sump tank. If I were to pull the bottom plug out, I would have a mess on my hands that would be unbelievable. And even doing it the way that I have to do it, it is a mess. I'll end up wearing half of the oil that comes out of this car. Not the car's fault, not the lift's fault, just the combination of the two kind of makes it a pain in the rear end. But it is what it is. BEMPAC, if you're out there listening and you'd like to contribute a nice scissor lift or a nice 4-post lift, I do have a garage now big enough to do that. So, unashamedly, I'd love to have another one of your products in here. But yeah, it's quite the combination for this car. So again, I'll point things out here as we get underneath. Are you kidding me? Okay. So there she is. All right, so there she is. She's up. Off the floor. Got quite a bit of clearance underneath her. I want to say it's 40 or so inches that this thing gets it off the ground, maybe a little bit more. 42, 44, 46, somewhere in there. Maybe not, maybe a little less than that, but plenty of room to work on the car, get underneath her, do anything maintenance-wise that you need to do for a vehicle. And that goes for any car in general. This lift is very well suited for doing service jobs. Be great in a tire change place or something like that. This thing, moves cars up and down pretty quick. So we'll get underneath her here and I'll show you what I'm dealing with and of course the fun that's going to be involved in doing this. All right. So for some of the less seen areas underneath the Vector, she's clean enough you could eat off the bottom of her. You can see lighting is probably not going to be great, but I'll show you anyway. So, looking at her CV joints and everything, all for being 30 years old, all look pretty damn good. Very clean. Of course, this car is the only California Air Research Board certified car, so she's got an air pump with some air injection pump with some additional hose down here for her. So that's something you won't see on any of the other cars other than this one. the genius of Vector Automotive and Jerry Weigert, of course, are the motor mounts, or engine mounts as they are properly called. Very large billet aluminum mounts. There are 2 bolts on each side in the front, so there's 4 bolts total there. And then above the rear differential, there's another bolt in the back. It's 5 bolts in total, not including the Panhard bar. So you got 7 bolts, and if you remove that, and then just whatever tube and hoses you need to remove, and you can drop the whole engine and drive line clean out of this car, which includes engine, transmission, rear differential, and that all comes out very easily. You can put it right on top of a nice pallet and scoot it out, exhaust and all. It's an amazing feat that the Vector Automotive team created here for serviceability. Not that it's ever had to have an engine out, but in case you needed to take the driveline out of this vehicle, it's very easy to do. Just an engineering masterpiece when it comes to that. Of course, the Weaver dry sump pump down here. You'll see the tank, and this is what I'm talking about here. So we've got the tank, and then you can see the actual lift, and the drain plug for it is right above it. It looks much bigger in the gap there than it really is. So what I end up doing is taking this and unthreading it, and then shooting all the oil out of there. It leaves about 2 inches in the bottom of the cone there, which I can suck right out of there and get to the bottom of it real easily with a little suction pump that I have. So that's that. So now what we've got to do is warm her up. But like I say, this is the business end of her. The exhaust system, very nicely and neatly packaged underneath here. Super compact, very well contained. Not real sure how well this is going to show up on video. Of course, there is a dry sump tube on the rear differential, and then its own dedicated dry sump sitting up there, a pump for it that runs as gear driven off of one of the helical gears. So that's kind of a neat feature for that, and then it dumps the oil right back on top of the helical gear at the top of the differential. Very, very nice setup. Some large cooling fins here for it. If there's one thing this differential has no issues with, it is the cooling. This is, by the way, a proprietary Vector design. This is not utilized in any other vehicle because of its configuration with the Turbo Hydro 425 transmission. Everything comes right off the housing. There's a custom unit that's in there that is the coupling between the transmission and the rear differential. All Vector derived, all designed in-house. So very, very nice. And so that's everything underneath her. All stainless exhaust. Has held up very well over the years. Still looks pretty much brand new on this car. Granted, she doesn't see a lot of weather, but she is definitely a aging vehicle that has stayed in pretty damn good shape for her age. Like Jerry said, she was built to last the life of her owner, and she's doing quite well at that right now, as being over 30 years old. So, not a bad car. So, let's get started. We'll get her warmed up and go from there. Alright, so I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear me, but we'll let her warm up, get her up to temperature. Once she's up to temperature, then we can shut her off most of this, just because of the nature of the beast. So one of the other magnificent features of this car is her fully flat bottom. Now we can see a little moisture coming out of the exhaust back there. We've had quite a bit of rain, but alright, she is good and warmed up now, so now I can do the dubious task of undoing everything here, and I don't know how much you guys are going to get to see. I don't want the camera getting too close. If I were using a cheap GoPro, it'd be one thing, but we've got a very expensive 4K Sony camera here, so we'll try and protect it the best we can. Go grab a hand wrench, some gloves, and we'll get this underway. And lucky me, I decided to pick one of, if not the hottest days of the summer to do this, so this should be fun and entertaining. Underneath the car, the catalytic converters are all up to temp, so it's always a bonus. Alright, so let the fun begin. We'll get this light out of here, just because it's going to be a mess when this comes down. Let's see here. Try and put the bucket in a location where I can divert most of the oil to anyway. Trusty hand wrenches get to do their thing. Easy enough to get undone. Now the fun begins, because now we're going to deal with where all this hot oil goes. We do have, I'm going to scooch it in here a little bit, a nice big 5-gallon bucket, courtesy of our friends at John Deere. So, here comes the fun. And oh yeah, it's nice and hot. Oh boy. Lucky me. Oh, God. Whew. Yeah. Smoking hot. The other fun part about this is there are conical washers inside of all of these, and the minute I pull this one, that conical washer typically makes it to the bottom of the bucket. Then you gotta go fish for that, so yeah, not looking forward to that. And there is no easy way to do this. It's just, you know, the nature of the beast, so good, bad, or indifferent. Man. The fun, the fun. Nothing like 200 degree oil coming down at you. least we're flowing pretty good here. There is a lot to get out of the system. That dry sump tank holds quite a bit of oil, so it'll take a few minutes for this to happen, and I apologize for how slow the excitement is here, but this is part of it. Like I said, if I had a different hoist in this garage, things would be a little easier to do. Nice 4-post would certainly get it. But that is a luxury we do not have. Well, like I say, this is certainly one of the easier cars you have to do any maintenance on. From an accessibility perspective, everything is out in the open and very easy to get to. About as exciting as watching paint dry, I'm sure, for you guys. Because you're not going to be able to see much because of where I've got the camera located. And trying to speed this process up will get you into trouble, because the minute I try and separate that AN fitting from the bottom of the dry sump tank, it will create a shower of oil down here. So you want to get the vast majority of it out of there at a very slow pace. You say the oil's quite hot, so we run that engine right up to temp and make sure that everything's had a good rinse inside that engine, and we're getting the vast majority of any deposits out of there that may be in there. She does not get a lot of miles on her during a year, so I think I was just looking at the odometer there while she was running, and she's got 663 original miles on her. So at this point in time, she is the lowest mile Vector on the planet. That honor used to belonged to a gentleman by the name of Dr. Tom Spagnolia, a near and dear friend of mine. He owned 2 Vectors. He had car 18, car number 6. And car 18 at the time, when he bought her, she was the lowest mileage Vector on the planet with 200 miles on her. My car, I bought her with just right around 500 miles on it. And the surprising thing was Dr. Tom sold his cars. He was very ill, and God rest his soul. He sold his cars upon his death, and those cars were taken out west, back to California, and David Koska, the vice president of Vector Automotive, was endeared with those 2 cars to do some service and maintenance for the new owner.
And David was quite taken aback when he jumped into the seat of 18 and fired her up for the first time. And she had 2,200 miles on her instead of the 200 miles on her. So Dr. Tom had taken her out for a couple thousand-mile spin that he didn't tell any of us about, and put a few miles on the old girl, which is wonderful. I'm glad he had an opportunity to do so. But in doing so, he swapped lowest mile Vector W8s from his car to mine, and mine became the lowest mile Vector W8 in existence, with 663 miles on her. So now she has the distinct honor of being that car. So it's nice. She's well maintained. I take good care of her. But I was kind of surprised when David told me that about car number 18, the green car, and had to laugh a little bit just because it bestowed an honor upon my car that I wasn't expecting. So that was a lot of fun for me, anyway. And a lot of people ask me, why don't you have more miles on your car? Why don't you drive it? The short answer to that is trying to preserve this as one of the lowest mile cars in existence. I've had my fair share of fun in pre-production cars, so I haven't had the real need to take this one out and have my fun with it. But I do enjoy taking it to car shows, etc. That's more where the fun is at for me these days. Show people what we've created, what we built. So kind of is what it is. It'll hopefully be the lowest mile Vector for the rest of its life. The problem with it is really the tires. The tires are the original Michelin XGTs, and they're 30 some years old, so that they're not dry rotted clean off the car is a testament to Michelin's quality of product. But in the same respect, I wouldn't want to take this car out and try and do any type of speed with it, as I'm afraid they may disintegrate. Not sure they would, but don't want to take that chance and have something bad happen to the car in the process. So she's pretty much a trailer queen at this point. To put a different set of wheels and tires on it would kind of defeat the originality of it. So when you take it to a concourse event, etc., you could take it out and drive it, I guess, put miles on it, but and then swap back to these if you wanted to do it. But the expense involved in recreating these wheels, and David Koska does do it, is quite horrific. For someone like me, I mean, you're talking a used car for the price of a set of wheels and tires to replace it. You're looking at $20,000 just for the set of wheels, ish. From David. They may be more now. That was a few years ago when prices weren't quite as high as they are today. So I wouldn't know what he's getting for a set today, but I can't imagine that it's cheap. And there we are. The remainder of the oil pouring out. Couple of gallons of oil in the process. Like I say, there's still the two filters that need to come off. I'll grab another pan for those. After the dry sump is done relieving itself of all of its oil. Still got some coming out here at a good trickle at least. I'm getting close to the bottom of the tank though. It's slowing down pretty quick here. I'll grab the suction little hand pump and we'll pump that remainder out of here. Get down to the bottom of the dry sump tank. Just trying to make sure I get most of this out before I do, so it's not dribbling all over the hoist, because that's always a mess to clean up. That isn't any fun once the car goes back down on the ground again. So we'll let it just trickle for a minute. I'll grab that little hand pump, which is right next to me here. Of course, my arms are oil soaked nonetheless, just from getting this thing started. Here we go, we're down, just about down to a drip now. Can't be much for contaminants in the oil, as she gets an annual oil change, and the number of hours that I actually put on her here in the garage is quite low. She always gets up to temperature, but we always run her several, at least once every couple of weeks. Give her a good 15-20 minutes of warm-up. Get everything up to temperature in the car. Oil temp, water temp, exhaust gas temperatures up. So we're doing the best we can with it. Alright, that's pretty much about as good as it's going to get for now. Of course, I'm wearing quite a bit of oil here. Try and get me cleaned off a bit anyways. Alright. Little hand pump over here, which was a little bit of a mess. I guess I forgot to empty that bucket out the last time I did an oil change on this car. And the two filters are still sitting there from the last oil change. That's alright though. Okay, let's stick this in the tank. Pump the rest out. Oh, come on. Let's get her all the way down in there. There she is. There it comes. And we're at the bottom of the tank. There she is. Pretty well done up. Let me just go back in there one more time, make sure 100%. Oh, yep, she's done. Ooh, a little bit of shit dripping off. There we go. Alright, so you can tell it's hot because that hose went immediately limp on me. It was nice and stiff before I stuck it in that oil. Very, very high temp. Alright, so the question becomes is somewhere in the bottom of that bucket is our conical washer. She did come off and she did go drop in. Oh no, she made it into the funnel, which was great. That makes it so I don't have to go fishing for it. Put her back on. Thread the connector back. Nice. Easy. And grab our Allen wrench. Get it back on. good and tight. Clean off the bottom there. And fitting. So she's back to show ready. Blow on the hose there. Alright. That gets all the oil out from under her. Now we gotta grab the 2 filters. Look at that. So that's next. Go grab a wrench to get the filters off. May not even need one. They'll probably come off by hand. And then just grab a container for the oil to drop into and put those filters on. I'll be right back. Alright. Oh, that's good. That oil container had a little bit of oil on the bottom of it. Not exactly ideal for when I want to lay down here, so I'll do my best to avoid that, but probably not going to have much luck. Alright, let's see if we get lucky here with the oil filters. And if I'm going to need any type of a wrench on them. Well, this one looks like it's just going to come right off without any trouble, other than whatever we drip out of here. Oh, there she comes. Yep, more shower. Oh, the fun. There we go. Oh my goodness. Yep. Big 1 quart filters. And they're very hot. Holy smokes. Oh yeah, there we go. That's more fun to wear. And more oil. But that's alright. Squeegee out to the old glove here. Gonna be fun. I'll have to use my other hand to loosen the other side because this one's pretty well oil soaked at this point. So we get to change positions. Woo. There she goes. And of course more oil drip. Alright. Let's see if we can't get this one down. Man, that's hot. There she is. Okay. Number 1 and 2. Out. I'm happy. Sort of. Makes it easy. Like I say, everything's easy to grab under this car, so not too bad. Don't know how much you guys are gonna see, but yeah. Let me grab another paper towel, just wipe down the seal surfaces. Get some oil on those seal surfaces so that we on the actual oil filter. So yeah, fun. Alright. So, let me preface this by saying the amount of heat underneath here is quite excruciating, just because I'm right next to a catalytic converter that was at 1200 degrees ish, maybe 900, somewhere right around there. I have to go back and look at the EGT, but so the temperature combined with the 85 degrees it is outside today, yeah, it's quite nice under here. Quite balmy, as they say. Alright, so let's do what we gotta do here. I'll shut you guys off. I'll refill some filters. Maybe I'll show you that. That's not really a big deal. But everything's back together underneath, except 2 filters back on, and we'll fill those up with our oil and thread them back into place. And should be fun. Alright, so the oil filters we use in the Vector are Purolator PL3000, or should I say 30,001s. Good filter. Purolator, one of the best made filters on the market these days. A number of pleats per square inch in there. A all metal filter. There's no plastic componentry inside this thing. So very good filter. One that I've done a lot of research on. Was one of the best made filters out of all filter brands. So I've run them religiously in this car for 30 years. Never had a problem, and we'll continue to do so. So we're going to fill these up, get some oil in them, top them off, and then put them underneath the car. Alright, so I typically will stick a funnel in these just because when using the bigger jug, I don't want to make a mess. Take a look at them, see where we're at. Just about full on this one. Getting pretty close. Alright. Yeah, just about to the top of that one. Do the same for this guy. The fun of 50 weight oil, it's even at 1550, it's still kind of slow moving. This should get her pretty well close to the top of where she needs to be. And then we can go put those in back underneath. I will just show you what the seats look like for the oil filters, just so you can see how clean they are. You'll understand how low miles this vehicle truly is. And everything just looks brand new everywhere you go on this car. Which is good. I'm very proud of the fact that she does still look 30 years later like she just rolled off the factory floor. And it definitely makes it a pleasure to work on too. There's no dirt to contend with, nothing bad to deal with on this car. It's all very, very nice. Like I say, one of the nicest cars I've ever had to work on, out of everything I've ever had. And I've had a lot of cars, so to say that for the old girl certainly is a plus. Get a little oil on the finger here. We'll take and Get both of these seals lubed up so that they don't leak. There we go. Now, grab you guys. We'll take you back. I'll try and set you up in a better position now. So here's what I'm talking about. The two oil filter mounts. As you can see, they're about as spotless as they can get. A couple of little drips of oil there from those coming out, but that's fine. That'll help seal it up when I thread those oil filters back on there. But like I say, everything on this car is like brand new. It's just amazing how well it's aged over all these years. All right, let me go grab a couple of oil filters and we'll put those back in place. So, just about 2 quarts consumed by these two guys. Tough when you got asthma. Lean on your lung the wrong way. Alright, here we go. Number 2, back in place. Oh, come on. Not quite getting around the threads. Come on. There she goes. Into place. Alright, so we're 2 filters deep there. Nice and tight. Should seal up like new. So that's that. Bottom of the dry sump tank is on. Oh, here's the one thing I do want to show you guys. And I'll see how good this actually comes in. But for all of you guys that have wondered, let's see if you can see that on there, but the Rodeck Y block and the stamping of the word Rodeck, or should I say the embossment of the word Rodeck in there, just so most people like to say, oh, she's got a Chevy 350 in her. No, she doesn't. There's another spot. You can kind of see it too. Now, let's see here if I can get a visual shot of her. Oh, there she is. A little upside down for you. But, yeah, she is a Rodeck Y block. Alright. We've got everything done underneath the car that we needed to do. Now, we'll put her back down and we'll fill the dry sump tank back up. And then we'll have to fire her up for a minute, let her run, let everything equalize out, and then we can check the oil level in her and see if we need to add any more. We'll probably have to add another quart or so, just because it tends to level out once the dry sump tank is filled and everything's been flowing through the system properly. It drops just a little bit. So we'll get that tidied up here and go from there. Alright, let's drop her down.
back where she started, on the ground. All right, let's reset the camera up and we'll put you back by the engine again. All right, so dry some tanks up here in front. Dipstick. And we shall begin the fill. Alright, I doubt we're even close to being on the dipstick here, but we'll just check her, just in case. And bone dry. She's got a lot of room for more. We'll see how much more we put in here before we fire her up. Just check her again here, see where we're at. Give her just a second to drip off. She is right on the full line, but that is before she is fired back up again. So we'll fire her back up, get some oil circulation to her and the filters, all the lines for uno momento, and we'll go from there.
check her again. See how close we are. It might be all right. She may be just a hair low. Let's find out. Oh, we are riding right at full, so we will leave her the way she is. No need to add any more. So there it is. A fairly fast, well, fairly, I say, because it's not extremely fast, but fairly quick oil change done on the Vector. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Please like, subscribe, and share, and we'll catch you soon. Thanks.